Hello everyone. Now we are going to continue doing the trigonometric functions and their plotting and discussing certain properties of trigonometric functions. Uh, we have already done sin x, cos x, tan x and cot x. We have done these four functions. Now we are left with sec x and cosec x. Secx is opposite of cos x, 1 upon cos x, as I have written on there. You can see it. Now, if when will be sec x not defined? The first question is, when will be sec x not defined? If cos x is going to be 0, if cos x is going to be 0, which is in denominator, because sec x is 1 upon cos x, and if cos x becomes 0, then sec x will not be sorry, cos 0 is 1, so sec x will be defined. But if sec cos is 0 when x is odd multiple of pi by 2, because we said that odd multiples of pi by 2 gives cos 0, cos pi by 2, cos 3 pi by 2, cos 5 pi by 2, all these will give us 0. So if it is cos pi by 2 in the denominator, if it is cos 90 in the denominator, then we will not be defined. Either it will be pi by 2 or it will be minus pi by 2. And where will it be defined? It will be defined at, for example, all other points, and it will be 0 at 0, because sec 0 is 1 upon cos 0, the value of cos 0 is 1, so it will be 1. And the green line which I have drawn, the green function which I have shown, is of cos x. Green graph is cos x graph. Now this sec x will not be defined from minus 1 to plus 1. There will be no cos x, though no sec x between minus 1 and plus 1. It will not be defined. It will not be defined. There will be no values sec x can take between minus 1 to plus 1. It has to be beyond. It has to be like minus infinity to minus 1 if we are talking of the range, and 1 to infinity. And this red curve is of sec x. Actually, I have drawn cos x, otherwise there is no need of drawing cos x. The green curve, you can show just this red curve. But to make you understand through the cos, we have drawn the cos, and just the reverse of the cos will be there, sec x. Now, if you look at this curve, it is not between, the red curve is not between minus 1 to plus 1. So sec x is not defined between minus 1 to plus 1. Sec x is not defined between minus 1 and plus 1. Is that clear? Now let us talk about, as I said, that at pi by 2, minus pi by 2, minus 3 pi by 2, and then after this minus 5 pi by 2, and 3 pi by 2 pi by 2, or 3 pi by 2 pi by 2, minus 3 pi by 2 pi by 2, minus pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2. At these points where pi by 2, the curve is not going to be defined. So the curve is going towards that line, but it is not touching. It's not touching that line. So what we say is that, let us see what is the domain of this function. Domain is that it is not defined at these points. It is not, otherwise set of real number minus 2n plus 1 pi by 2. r minus 2n plus 1 pi by 2 because the curve is not defined at those points. What is the range? For range, we look at the y-axis. This green portion between minus 1 and 1 is not there. Between minus 1 and 1 is not there. So its range is minus infinity to minus 1 union 1 to infinity. On infinity, we put open brackets always. On infinity, we put always brackets, and here it is a closed bracket. On 1 and minus 1, it is a closed bracket. Why it is a closed bracket? Why it is a closed bracket? Why it is a closed bracket? Because this is included. This minus 1 and 1 is included because it is touching minus 1 line as well as 1 line. So it is, but there is no curve between minus 1 and 1. There is no curve. There is no curve between minus 1 to 1. There is no curve. There is no curve between minus 1 to 1. What are the roots? Where it is 0, it's not cutting the x-axis. It's not cutting the x-axis. Okay. And what about asymptotes? Asymptotes are vertical lines. Asymptotes. Asymptotes are what? It is pi by 2, odd multiples of pi by 2, where it is not touching the curve is not touching those lines. So it will be x is equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 2. 2n plus 1 pi by 2. It is periodic, yes. Periodic, yes. And what is the period? 2 pi. Period is 2 pi. Let us see. Yes, period is 2 pi. Period is 2 pi. Minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 will be pi, not 2 pi. Pi by 2. Why is this curve here? Just a moment. It is not 2 pi. It is minus 3 pi by 2 minus pi by 2. Okay, 2 pi is the 2 pi. Okay, period is 2 pi. Period is 2 pi. Alright. So this is about the Secx. Now let's discuss about Cosec x. Y or fx is equal to cosec x. Let's see cosec x. Now again cosec x will be 1 upon sin x. 1 upon sin x, because cosec is reciprocal of sine. So cosec x will not be defined, not be defined, where sin x will be equal to 0. Where sin x will be equal to 0. And sin x is 0 when x is equal to n pi. When x is equal to n pi. When x is n pi, then it is 0. So it is not defined at even multiples of pi. It is not defined at n is integer. N is integer. N is integer, not even multiple. It is not defined at pi. Okay. Now let us take the next. Let us take the uh, cosec x is equal to 1 upon sine x, and 1 upon sine pi by 2 is 1 upon 1, so it is 1. So at pi by 2, it will be 1. At pi by 2, it will be 1. Odd multiples of pi by 2. At odd multiples of pi by 2, it will be 1. Let us draw the graph for this. Let us draw the graph for this. This is x-axis. This line is y is equal to 1, and this line is y is equal to minus 1. And then again we are going to draw, we have drawn the curve here, we have drawn the y-axis, and then we draw further lines, further vertical lines. Similarly on this side, let's draw the lines. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2, 2 pi, minus pi by 2, minus 3 pi by 2. Uh, what am I doing? It is minus pi, it is minus 3 pi by 2, and it is minus 2 pi. Now let's draw the graph of the sine first of all. Let's draw the graph of the sine first. Let me take this yellow color. This is here. Similarly, this is the curve for sine. Sine. And where it is not defined, we don't need to draw this curve, but we have drawn this. And let us see further. Now, what does it say? It is not defined at n pi. Will not be defined where sin x is 0. So, the 0 to pi it will not be defined. The 0 to, between 0 and pi it will not be defined. It will be not defined between minus 2 pi pi and minus pi to 0. Similarly, pi to 2 pi. Is that clear? Okay. So this yellow curve is of sine x, sine x, and red curve, red curve represents cosec x, cosec x. What is the domain? Domain is of course R, set of real numbers, minus n pi, because at n pi it is not defined. The range is, what is the range? The range is minus infinity to minus 1 union 1 to infinity, and asymptotes asymptotes are at what? Asymptotes are at n pi. Asymptotes are at n pi. And that shall do just now.